In today's Air Force, women have shown time and again that they are truly equal to their male counterparts. Making up more than 20% of the Air Force's current personnel, women have become immersed in every level of the mission, distinguishing themselves by doing the jobs that matter to us all.
My name is Captain Michelle Pfaff. The highlight of my career was getting these wings right here because I worked very hard to get there. I spent 11 years enlisted while being deployed for the war in 2003. This is all I ever wanted to do, was be an Air Force pilot.
Airman Caitlin Mosley. I am a firefighter at the Air National Guard base. You don't see many female firefighters. When I was in tech school, there was 6 of us in the entire school. So it just makes me feel good that I can do something that every other man can do.
But the road to this realization was not an easy one. It was forged by those that came before. Extraordinary strong women whose heroic example of sacrifice would blaze the trail for generations to come. The year is 1942, and the Allies were storming Normandy Beach. That same year, the U.S. Army Air Corps, predecessor to today's Air Force, took a groundbreaking step of forming and employing 2 women aviation units. Although the group's primary role was limited to non-combat missions such as ferrying aircraft from factories to air bases, it was the first monumental step to be taken, and the history of women in and out of the military would be changed forever.
By train, bus, or airplane, to Anniston, Alabama come new WAC enlistees from every corner of the country. For the recruits, there lies ahead an 8 weeks basic training course, a curriculum designed to give every girl a chance at an interesting and attractive Army job or a head start on a post-WAC career.
With the Women's Armed Services Act of 1948, women were granted for the first time permanent status in the regular and reserve military forces. Although allowed to officially serve, conditions were anything but equal.
To anyone who has served in one or another of the U.S. service branches, the issuing of uniforms and military gear to the recruits follows a familiar pattern.
But in the Women's Army Corps, there's a marked distinction. Hat, uniform, and accessories worn by the WACs, all are styled by high-fashion designer Hattie Carnegie. The value placed by the Women's Army Corps on meticulous grooming and feminine grace is one of the first lessons learned by the recruit.
I'm Patty Dudley. I used to be the command chief here at the Air National Guard. I don't think it was any easier for the women to work in these careers. I think the thought was that the women wouldn't be able to do the man's job, and basically going through all the training, each person has to do it, whether you're a male or female. They did have to prove themselves.
I am Chief Master Sergeant, retired Linda Wiggin. I was a member of the 101st Civil Engineering Squadron for almost 26 years. At that time, it definitely was a man's world, but I never portrayed that. I'm sure there was times that I annoyed them, and they probably felt they had done differently to get where they were. But no matter what you go into in life, you don't always have opportunities. I had opportunities, and I have never taken that for granted.
In the years to follow, women struggled to be taken seriously and were often pigeonholed into traditional career fields.
Senior Master Sergeant Deborah A. Rice. When I joined the Air Force in 1973, I always like to say men were men and girls were girls, and traditionally women were in women's jobs, nursing, secretarial personnel perhaps. We were supposed to look pretty. We were allowed to grow our hair down to our shoulder blades, and we actually had classes and basic training on how to wear makeup. Instead of fatigues like the men got, I was issued a blue cotton pair of pants and 2 wraparound skirts. When I went to work, we had to climb ladders and crawl on the floor and things like that, and wraparound skirts didn't work very well for that.
Lieutenant Colonel Lauren Romaine was a pilot for the Maniacs, for the 101st. When I was looking for a place to fly, women weren't flying fighters, so I had to apply to units that had heavy airplanes. And so I applied to the Bangor Guard and was turned down the first year, and then came back the next year and was accepted. When I first went through Castle Air Force Base, which was the training place for tankers, that there were only stand-up urinals in the bathrooms. There weren't toilets. So, yeah, you just had to learn how to get creative. That was, you know, so there's some obstacles.
Michelle Smith. I retired April 2011. I think those glass ceilings are there, but I think that they are there for anybody. I think if you place that glass ceiling there and you're not willing to try to push through it, anybody can hold themselves back. It wasn't my nature or my demeanor to let it go unshattered.
Moving into the 20th century, women continued to break new ground. But the ways in which wars were being fought was changing. New deadly weapon technologies were blurring the front lines of war.
There is no distinction that's made between the sacrifices of men and women in uniform. They serve, they're wounded, and they die right next to each other. The time has come to recognize that reality.
In the Maine Air National Guard, women serve side by side with men as a key component in accomplishing the Air Force mission. With a wide range of career fields and responsibilities, women have immersed themselves in every aspect of Air Force life.
I'm Master Sergeant Paula Page, First Sergeant of the Security Forces Squadron in Bangor. Definitely you're a minority out here, but I don't view it that way. I feel like all of the women here serve a purpose. I feel we're all treated as equals, and the longer I've been in, the more I see that happening. In fact, when I decided to put on First Sergeant, I think it almost was an advantage being female because there aren't a lot of female applicants. So I think that it is never really, I never really have been at a disadvantage. I feel like it's kind of more of an advantage. And people look to you as a role model because there are fewer women in the military.
My name is Master Sergeant Heather Johnson. I'm a member of the 101st Force Support Squadron. You know, you don't see a lot of women in the military. Oh, it's a men's military, whatever, but no, I mean, women are very successful and we're very strong-minded and we can do it. And it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, you know, and I put that uniform on every day and I'm thankful that I can do that.
From missions in the air to operations on the ground, female airmen continue to prove their abilities in completing any task given.
I'm Captain Carrie Mancini, Deputy Base Civil Engineer and Operations Officer in Charge.
You know, I wanted to, back when I first started in carpentry, I wanted to make sure that I could prove that I could do the job. And I told them, I said, don't give me special treatment. And now that I'm a commissioned officer, I can relate to them. I can go back there and talk to them about their job. And I think it's a little bit inspiring for young women that think they might want to be an officer someday and think that they might have obstacles that are going to hold them back, but you shouldn't let them, you know, keep you from earning your potential.
Down through the years, the core values of the Air Force, integrity, service before self, and excellence have been the guiding credos for airmen, like a torch being passed from one generation to the next.
Remember what your job is here and do that job and focus on your duties. Enjoy the work and enjoy the pride that your work will instill in you.
I think a woman may have to work harder to earn respect in some ways. It's not necessarily how others may view you as a soldier, but maybe how you view yourself and how you look at yourself and say, all right, I need to do this extra good because I'm a female. They might think that I just don't have the physical ability to perform these tasks. And so it might not necessarily be what the unit feels that you can or can't do. It might be that you need to feel like you need to earn the respect and prove yourself.
Stride for that next level, stride for that next promotion, stride for that next leadership position, because one day you are going to be there and it's yours with your name on it, so go for it.
Today's young airmen, they have role models that they can look to and say, I can be that and I can attain that position, and they can do it if they're a full-time mom, working full-time, going to school, there is a balance. They can do it. We give our hearts and dedication to doing a good job here for the unit and in turn the whole Maniac family.
Values inherited by the ones that will come next, given by the ones that came before. Air Force daughters, wives, and mothers, all heroes in their own right, all defenders of our country, all of them airmen.